are derived from this word root yaj. Yaj has got some multiple meanings. Deva puja, Sangati Karana, Dana. So the basic meaning is kind of worship. Worship of divinity.
Sir, should we call it yaj or yuj?
Yaj. No, yuj is for yoga. That is if Utara is that is joining, adding, combining kind of thing. That is a different dhatu. Talking of yaj.
Yaj.
Yaj from yaj. Yaj, Deva Puja, Sangati Karana, Daneshu. This is the root. The Panini's dhatu pata. So now, Yaja as Deva Puja, Yaja Deva Pujayam is the first meaning and the most prominent meaning. It is also present in the other meanings like Sangati Karana and Dana. That is to bring in all the paraphernalia together, see that there is an offering made. The Sangati Karana is to put together all the necessary inputs. That is, the yajnas involve multiple kinds of resources. There are physical resources, there are the human resources, there are also process resources. So together, we need to say that they are all brought together. So from that point of view, Sangati Karana is the second meaning of this dhatu yaja. The third meaning, of course, is Dana. Yaja Deva Puja, Sangati Karana, Daneshu. So now together, this is one very, very important concept in the Indic knowledge systems across all the Vidyasthanas. Vedas per se are meant for yajna. This is a statement in the Vedanga Jyotisha. It begins with saying, Vedahi yajnaartham abhipravrittaha. The very purpose of Vedas is to describe yajnas and to see that any human endeavor is looked at as a yajna. So the concept of yajna is very important. Even the knowledge that is gained about the yajna also is a yajna. So the yajnas are of different types. Jnana yajna is one of them. Gita, of course, mentions in Bhagavad Gita we have Jnana yajnaha, tapo yajnaha, dravya yajnas, tatha pare, swadhyaya jnana yajnascha. So swadhyaya yajna is possible. So the word yajna that is common to all of this comes from this root yaja, which involves worshipping divinity. Deva, of course, is something divine. Now, Deva's puja. Puja is to offer yourself as a devotee, as a follower, as someone who would not violate the rules, who would not violate the requirement. So, this dharma, which is also the other word that we use for the purpose of Vedas. Vedas talk about dharma. Vedaha akhilaha dharma moolam is the other statement. Vedo akhilo dharma moolam. This is from Manusmriti. Smriti shilecha tadvidam acharashchaiva sadhunam atmanas tushtirevacha. So, dharma is the very factor that is important for the stability of the whole universe. Dhriti sadhanam dharmaha. Now this Dhriti sadhana dharma vishwasya jagatah pratishtha. In Taittiriya Upanishad we have this statement. The entire universe is stable because of dharma. Now this dharma is achieved through yajnas. Dharma is the result, the process that makes that happen is yajna. So these two together happen to be, either of the word that is used is still denoting the purpose of the Veda. Vedahi yajnartham abhipravrittaha is the one side. Vedokhilo dharma moolam is the other side. So naturally, we begin with understanding the word yajna from that Vidyasthana or Shastra which deals with explaining the meanings of Vedas. And this Shastra is called Mimamsa. Mimamsa Shastra is meant to analyze and understand Vedic statements. And this Mimamsa also is called as Dharma Mimamsa. That Shastra begins with saying Athato Dharma Jignasa. That is the very first sutra of Mimamsa. Dharma Mimamsa written by, say, Jaimini. It has 12 chapters which deals with Vedokta Yajna Vichara. Vedartha Vichara and Vedas are meant for yajnas. So Yajna Vichara is also called Yajika Mimamsa, Dharma Mimamsa, Karma Mimamsa. There are multiple names. But it deals with you to understand Dharma as propounded in the Vedas through the means of yajna. Through the means of yajna. Now, it is not that only those activities which are done using Vedas with the Agni, etc., are only yajnas. Yajna is derived from the Vedic concept of yajna, but it pervades every human endeavor, every human activity, even life itself is treated as a yajna. So I wanted to come to those gradually, how concept developed from yajna from the root, yaja deva puja sangati karana dhaneshu, then dharma from the root, dhring dharane, dhring avasthane, from this root dharma is what is formed. Dhriti sadhana, yajnas are necessary, yajnas are inevitable, yajnas are universally present at all times. Yajnas are of multiple types, multiple modes. This is what we would understand now. So what happens is, this Deva Puja is the important word. There is divinity in everything that we see around us. Sarvabhuteshu Chatmanam, Sarvabhutani Chatmani. In the Bhagavad Gita we say, every Bhuta contains the Paramatma and he is present everywhere. He is inside and outside. So the presence, if it is realized, that becomes yajna. Instead of doing it as a mechanical activity, suppose we realize the tattva behind, the concept behind, then every atom in the universe is pervaded by this Atma Tattva, this Paramatma Tattva. Now that is what makes this whole thing stable. It creates, maintains, and of course destroys when there is the cycle ending. Now this dharma includes all the three. Srishti, Sthiti, Samhara. All of them, there is one single force which maintains the entire thing. We call it as Brahma in Vedanta, it is called as Devata, God by other name. Mimamsakas would call it as just Vedokta Dharma alone. So that can create whatever is good for stability of the world. Now, suppose we use this word in a different context, let us say. Someone has got a very tough task where number of people are involved, lot of inputs have to come in. A lot of coordination is necessary, let us say. A very highly complex activity involving multiple inputs and lot of coordination is generally referred to as a yajna to complete this task.
Yeah,
This
and
is
also continuity is also included, right, sir? That which also runs for long time, in addition to the characteristics you mentioned.
Actually, there is no discontinuity at all. This is the other way. It is present all the time. The realization alone is the difference. Whether someone realizes or not. Just because somebody does not realize, it does not cease to exist. That is why Jati Sadhanam Dharmaha, Dharmo Vishwasya Jagataha Pratishtha. This is what the Upanishad said. The world is stable as it is because of Dharma. And Dharma results from Yajna. So these two are interrelated concepts. One is the result, other is the means. So Dharme Pramiyamane Vedena Karanatmana Iti Kartaveta Bhagam Mimamsa Pureshyati. Mimamsa actually puts itself in a proper perspective, saying Vedas talk about Dharma, but achieving Dharma is done through performing Yajna. Now this Mimamsa tries to help us from the text of Vedas talking about Dharma through performing, understanding, going through the process. How do we actually end up with the desired results? The results are multiple. See, someone would like to have longevity. Dirghayus is one of the kamanas. Pashu Samriddhi, Praja Samriddhi, Shatru Jaya, Samrajya. There are various kinds of the desires. For any given desire, the Vedas have a route given to you. through the means of yajna. Yajnas are there for every, all and sundry purposes. One could do yajna. Conversely, Bhagavad Gita puts it, any activity that you do, treat it as the worship of the divinity. Then there is no activity which is not a yajna. Now the difference is only in the realization, doing it that way. For example, Gita talks about if you leave out the sangha or attachment, if you for a moment think that you are not the person achieving the result, you are only an instrument in the whole system. Asishthanam, tatha karta, karanancha prasakvidham, vividhacha prasakyashta, daivam daivatra panchamam. There are 5 factors which are involved in achieving anything through a systematic means. Among them, the person who has got the necessary components. Adhisthana is the place the necessary things together. Then, in this place, this time, I would like to do this for achieving this. So, Adhisthana, Karta, and Karanancha Prathak Vidam, various kinds of instruments. It could be human, it could be material, it could also be space-time. Then, Vividhacha Prasakyashta, there has to be various kinds of activities that have a sequence, that have a requirement, this after this, this in this form, this by this person, this at this time, etc. A very proper, detailed chart of the activities with their sequences. Then Daivam Daivatra Panchamam. When all these things are in place properly, then the results definitely follow. But that is overseen, that is supervised by the divine power. Unless these are present, we cannot invoke the divinity. So the point is, Karmanyeva Adhikaraste comes up at this stage. We need to keep doing our duty to be able to see the result in the end. Though only our duty does not complete the whole picture. There are other factors into this. This is 20% of out of the total 5. One of them is this Karta's effort. But without this, example given is like, suppose we want to plant a tree. You now put in the seed in the soil. Soil is required, seed is required, water is required, sunlight is required, time is required. These 5 are equated to Adhishthanam, Tatha Karta, Karanancha Prathakvidham, Vividhacha Prasakyashta, Daivam Daivatra Panchamam. Suppose in an orchard, let us say there is a mango orchard, there are 100 seeds that are sown. Maybe not all of them sprout, some of them may not, but most of them come through. When other things are being equal, what is different in each seed case may be different. Its own potency or the amount of attention given to that in terms of maintaining, plus of course rainfall, plus the time that it takes. Different species take different time, etc. So the soil, water, seed, sunlight and time together, though the seed is the major reason. The Karmanyevadhikaraste actually says, in the absence of this, all others are present all the time, but they do not make any difference. Some are sadharana, something is asadharana. This asadharana part is the seed. In the case of a tree, the kartavya, that is where Karmanyevadhikaraste is taught to us. Yajnas also involve this aspect necessarily. Our duty, without for a moment worrying about the result that has to follow out of. So long as you have performed your part, there is no reason to doubt whether this will come through or not. This is something like, let's say, in mathematical derivation, somebody's procedure is proper. Your procedures and derivation is proper. The result that you get would be the right thing. You don't have to know the result beforehand. A priori, you do not know the result also. So long as the derivational process is logical and reasonable, whatever results be the right thing.
So the results of performing the yajna, are they said that they are instantaneous or there are different time periods for the result to manifest as per the kind of yajna you do?
Yes, you see, it depends on the desires for which, the fruit for which the yajnas are done. See, there are some which are instantaneous.
Hmm.
There are some which are instantaneous. See, there is a case where, for example, you have to kill an enemy, somebody who is destructive to society at large. Is someone who's to inhabitations, Agnidaha, Naradaha. Someone gives poison, poisons, large community of people. Such people are to be killed not by the physical means. There are also adjustments for that. They are called abhichara yagas. Now these abhicharas are meant to see there is a Vedic way, there is a yajnic way to achieve what we want to do. It is not personal, it is not selfish, it is for a larger good. Suppose there is, like today, what the American jargon uses, WMD, weapons of mass destruction. Someone tried to say there is a lot of weapons of mass destruction in Iraq and then tried to invade Iraq, whatever. But the slated purpose was millions of people are being targeted, so we need to take action. Now, similar to that, this is just to understand, the Shastras also have cases where you want to quickly finish off somebody, there is a yajna for which the result will be seen before the sun rises the next day. The Shruti actually says there, before sun rises the next day, Yavaditah purastad udayati surya tavadito munnashaya amum tavat nashaya yavat surya purastad udayati. Today we have started this. Before the next sunrise, this person whom we are targeting, who is a kantaka to the whole of the society, he should not remain. In such case, of course, the time, of course, is decided by the result itself. If Swarga is the result, then of course, after death only this can be achieved. So your ayus or the lifetime is the time for that. So the yajna need not be performed till you are alive. You complete this as per procedures, but you need to wait for getting the result till this body falls off. There are, of course, others like rainfall. A yajna can be done to get rainfall if there is a drought in a place. So there is a yajna called Kariri Ishti. Karirya Vrishtikamo Yajeta. Someone wants to get rain in a drought affected area. Then of course there is a yajna. So the Vedas try to see that whether it is achieved in this world, this life itself, or other place, other life, etc. There is a wide spectrum, right from instantaneous results to something which spans across lives is possible. But what is common is the concept of yajna, that you invoke the power of divinity through a specified method to achieve something which is stable, which is lasting, and which is not disturbing anybody. This is not selfish.
Sir.
Yeah.
Sir.
Yeah.
Yes. So, is it possible for person A to do yajna for the benefit of person B? Or is it necessary for that person only to get involved in performing the yajna activity?
Not necessarily. See, it depends on, in the case of inability. In the case of inability, someone can do this for others. In the case of children, ladies, old people, infirm people, deceased and such people, etc. There is a full set of people for whom others can officiate as a pratinidhi. You can have a pratinidhi on behalf of you performing this, because the sankalpa makes a distinction. For whom is this done and for what purpose is this done? But it is possible to do. In fact, a very, very simple example the Vedas give. When a woman is pregnant, she eats food for her and the child inside. It actually says, before a person is born, there is already a parartha yajna done. This is called parartha yajna. Yajna can be both swartha as well as parartha. Everyone comes into this world through a Parartha Yajna of his mother. This is what the Shruti says. Because you be grateful to her, etc. This is what it says. And it is no less than a yajna because there is a lot of restriction and there is a lot of inconvenience that the person undergoes. And consciously that which will be helpful to the child inside only will be taken. Though whether it is preferred by her or not, by the mother or not, or if she would like something else, but she would avoid certain things, etc. This is possible. But even for Sandhya Vandana kind of situation, when someone is not able to do, but genuinely is a believer, others can do for him. There is something like snana onwards, sprishpa snanam. A person is not able to take bath because of, let us say, 104 degrees fever. You touch him, take bath for him, come back 32 times. This needs to be done for someone to complete his Sandhya Vandana on behalf of another. He does his own, then to transfer this benefit to the other person whom you consider is the worthy beneficiary. This is possible. But yajna that way is one very, very universal concept. It is meant to be beneficial to the whole of humankind, whole of the universe itself, not only humans, even to the animals that are there in the houses. Channo astu dvipade, shan chatushpade. Two-legged and four-legged animals. That's what the Shruti says. So the four-legged ones are like pashus, the cows, etc. Cows, goats, and other things. There are also, of course, humans who are 2 feet animals. It does not distinguish, it does not call it as Manushya. Dvipat pashu, chatushpat pashu. So this is how something like two-wheeler, four-wheeler kind of thing. So you have. So yajna is a very, very generic but very important and powerful concept. And that is, for example, Vedadhyayana is the duty for the teacher, but it benefits the student. Unless the student completes learning, teacher's duty is not completed. He is not treated as doing a favor to the student. He is treated as completing his own duty. This is basically a Parartha activity. And Swadhyaya is a yajna as told in Bhagavad Gita. Swadhyaya, Jnana Yajna. Swadhyaya is learning, the process of learning the Vedic text, the meanings, the recitation, applications, all that. So that is where Vedahi Yajnartham Abhipravartaha. Vedas only talk about yajna. This is the statement of different kinds for different purposes, of different levels, different phases. Humans can do something, Devatas can do something, even those in the Naraka can do something. The Nama Sankirtana is also a yajna. Vedas have also talked about those who are not otherwise capable of anything else, then just sing the praises of the Lord. Vipashchite pavamanaya gayata. The Shruti has said, you talk about the glories of the Lord through Gana, through Sankirtana. Even this is fine. So it's a very wide compass that is covered by this word yajna, and that is the reason yajna is the central theme of all the Vedic texts. Indic knowledge per se is purposeful, helpful to all, and benefit as many as possible. So it tries to dissociate a person from being selfish, self-oriented, and it wants him to become community-oriented, universe-oriented. You can be a Vishwamanava. It's possible. Someone doing his duties systematically will benefit the entire universe. This is possible. People like Vishwamitra, Vasishtha, Saptarishis, Narada, Sanakadis, Vyasa, these are all the kinds of standard examples. By each one of them, the world has become that much richer, that much better, that much evolved. So, Yajna is in sense, they treat this as the Deva Puja. You don't have to have specifically a murti. You can do this through fire, you can do this through meditation, you can do it through nature itself. And nature is the most important one that is mentioned in the Vedas. So, yajna is not necessarily thinking of there is a fire, there is some Brahmin, there is some Homa, etc. That is what I am basically wanting to cover in this class today. Yajna, one of them is called the Paka Yajna or Soma Yajna or Havir Yajna. This is one type of them. They are called as Dravya Yajnas. Apart from Dravya Yajnas, Tapo Yajna is there, Jnana Yajna is there, Swadhyaya Yajna is there, and there are any activity designated as Yajna so long as it is offered to divinity. Like you say Krishna Arpanamastu. In Bhagavad Gita, finally he said, Yad Juhoshi, Yad Ashnasi, Yad Dadasi, Karoshi, Yad Tapasyasi Kaunteya, Tat Kurushva Madarpanam. Whatever you do, just offer that to me. Surrender yourself to me, saying, I did this only for your pleasure. That becomes a yajna. And aham sarva yajnanam bhokta cha prabhureva cha. I get pleased by every kind of yajna. Sarva yajnanam bhokta. Each one does in its own way. Like we have heard of this small squirrel. The squirrel which was trying to help Rama when he was building the setu. The setu was being built across the ocean. Of course, the Vanaras used to bring big rocks and then try to help. But the small squirrel also felt we should participate. It just, went inside the water, then made itself wet, then went around the sand, and then came back. The participation, the sense of participation, sense of being of some use, whatever use, to others, other than self, that is the basic concept of yajna. So Vedas always about.
Yes, so traditionally what we are taught means by our ancestors or parents that yajna limits to the home havan sort of things. Doing puja.
No.
Yes.
No, in fact, there is a lot of difference between yajna and yaga, yajna and homa, yaga and homa. Mimamsa has these descriptions. So that is something I want to clarify today. Yes.
And there are certain rules with which you have to adhere to. If you deviate from that rule, then it is devastating. That fruits will not be there, harm will be there. So if you are able to do it with full dedication and discipline, then only you should choose for going for yajna. Is it like that?
True. No, this concept part is true. See, the dedication, honesty, the worthiness of the purpose, etc. are true. But it need not always involve physical entities. This is basic question. In fact, in all yajnas, in all the homas, havanas also. But that is something I also want to stress. Vedas have, for example, someone has killed a Brahmin. What he gets as a papa is called Brahmahatya. And this Brahmahatya is not removed by normal yajnas. Only Ashwamedha can remove Brahmahatya. This is what the Vedas have said. All other sins are cleared by other yajnas, whereas Brahmahatya is not cleared by other yajnas. Only Ashwamedha can clear this. Sarvam papmanam tarati Brahmahatyam yaha Ashwamedhena yajate. This is the Vedic statement. So one who does the Ashwamedha yajna can get rid of Brahmahatya papa also. Now, having said this, Shruti also adds another line. One who actually performs Ashwamedha gets rid of Brahmahatya. One who knows this also gets rid of this. Yahucha enam evam veda. Ya evam veda. In every yajna there is another statement. Either you physically do or you can get the same result conceptually doing this whole thing, but then that involves much more discipline, much more rigorous mental effort. Then you can get the same result as done by a physical effort. Now these are two parallel statements in the case of every yajna in the Vedas. Hundreds of times we get this word, ya evam veda, yautainam evam veda, yaha agnim nachiketam chinute, yavucha enam evam veda, agnim kachit chinute. Someone else knows about this. You need to know the mantras, you need to know the procedures, you can mentally repeat them, go through the drill and get the result without actually performing. So what is important is this knowledge, the purpose, the benefit, dedication, commitment, etc. So, in fact, there is a very, very good statement when Vedas ought to be learned. When the Shruti said, Swadhyayaha, Chetavyaha. Naturally, there is a question. Why should somebody do the Adhyayana of Vedas? What is the purpose? What is the need? Then the Shruti says, all individual yajnas the same person will not be able to do in a given life. But somebody can learn about all the yajnas through Vedadhyayana. Then he gets the benefits of doing all those yajnas by doing the study of it itself, provided he rigorously sticks to the knowledge behind. It's not just the ratana, it is not just recitation, knowing with the meanings and the applications. Then, with the jnana of the yajnas, you get the result of the yajna itself. So then that becomes an easier route to achieve all benefits without having to physically run through. Now, this is the kind of basic. So the homa, havanas, etc., they have their place. But even there, this is the guiding factor. This knowledge, the faith, the purpose, nobility of the purpose, etc. Then the way it is achieved. Fine. And of course, yajnas require many more people. So it is not expected that everyone should do the yajna, but everyone should participate in a yajna. See, these are two different ways of putting this thing. Shruti has said, the life gets wasted if somebody does not participate in a yajna. Does not participate in a yajna is as important. Someone else is doing, you render all cooperation to him. You help him, participate in it. You also get the share of the result that he does. A person is the owner. The example given is a very nice example by Vedanta Deshika. See, there is a king who is a Chakravarti, and he has got number of people who serve him. The king's servants get the food that is being consumed by the king himself. The king shares the Panchabhaksha Paramanna that the king uses every day. He shared with his ministers, his servants, his officers, etc. Now, they can get it back and carry home for their wives and children. They will also get the same taste or the result of eating this. Someone has earned it by his own ownership. Someone has transferred it to somebody. That has been brought to another person.
Sir, one small digression. When we say Panchabhaksha Paramana, is it a figurative term, or do we actually have those Panchabhakshas in addition to Paramana, which we call as Panchabhaksha Paramana?
Yes. See, there are 5 kinds of fruits and 5 kinds of eatables which are called Choshya, Bhakshya, Leshya, Peya, and then that which is embellishing this. This is something like spices, etc., which by themselves are not, but they are additives. There are 4 kinds of them. That is, in Gita also it is said, Aham Vaishwanaro Bhukta Praninam Dehavastitaha Pranapana Samayuktaha Pachamyannam Chaturvidham. There are 4 kinds of anna. That which requires chewing, bhakshya, that which is actually licked, that is called lehya, that which is drunk, that is called peya, and that which is like sambar, it is not individually taken, soup kind of them, they are mixed with the rice. Mixed with the rice and then added to that is something like vegetables kind of. So now, lehya, choshya, bhakshya, peya, these are 4 kinds of them. Chaturvidham annam aham pachami. Krishna has said, I stay as the fire inside your stomach, and using your own prana, apana, vyanodana, samana, I digest that for you. Pachami annam chaturvidham. To this, when we add this spices, that is, it could be almonds, it could be cardamom, it could be this kind of that, it can go with any of these. That is the Panchavidha. So Panchabhakshas are specifically meant every day for the Naivedya. Yajna involves this. If you don't have also, you mentally see that you are offering this. This is also mentioned. There is a Manasi Puja. There is no depth, there is no poverty. There is no poverty for thoughts. So one can always try to think of, as I am offering all this to you. See, this is called Manasi Deva Puja. See, the yajna there again, it is called yaga. The Deva Puja is called as yaga. This yaga or yajna is basically that sense of offering to divinity, to see that this has been got by your grace. Because that I got through your grace, I offer it to you, then I utilize this. Gita, of course, is very clear. One who does not offer and eats becomes a papi. He just directly eats sin rather than the food. Mogham annam vindate aprachetaha Vedas, and the Gita says, Yo bhunte aghameva bhunte. Te tu agham bhunjate papaha ye pachanti atmakaranat. For your own self you cook something and eat, you are directly eating sin. Ye atmakaranat pachanti te aghameva bhunjate. Yajnashishtasana santaha muchyante sarva kilbishaihi. Make it as the shesha of yajna. After it is offered to the deities, then it is taken as shesha or prasada, and it clears all the papas. One creates it, one destroys it. The distinction lies only in your connection vis-a-vis the higher power. Are you grateful? Are you grateful? Are you humble? This is something the Shastras actually stress. Yajna actually, the Vedas say, is for these two purposes. It achieves two major qualities: gratitude, humility. You are nobody before nature. This is something that is taught again and again. Second, you be grateful to all the small mercies that you have received. It says, right from your breath, you are able to breathe, and that is where you say you are living. Life is equated to breathing. This breathing is not under the control of anybody. Breathing is the direct grace of the Lord, that you are fixed with a ayus, with a duration of life. From the time you are born till the time you die, so many heartbeats or so many, let us say, cycles of inhaling, exhaling. Who is controlling this? Who is keeping count? And if some small variation happens, this is called so many diseases, and it creates so much of problems. It's absolutely out of your control. So be grateful. Be grateful. In fact, Veda Parayana, it is said in the yajnas, is only to regulate your breathing. The proper saswara recitation of mantras is to regulate your breathing. If that is there, you can achieve anything, you can enjoy anything. Otherwise, it becomes useless. And that is again achieved by this Swadhyaya Yajna. The Vedas always begin with life itself. Every activity in life, every aspect of life looked at as a Yajna. Yajna meaning Devatodeshika Havistyaga. You surrender, you offer anything that is with you, that is needed by you, or that you would like to achieve. Before you consume, you offer it to the one who are the creator, to the one who has maintained it for you, to the one who has got you the wherewithal about how you could go about and achieve. So this sense of offering is that Deva Puja part. That is a Sangati Karana. Learn, get together, put all the paraphernalia in place, organize. See, there used to be a lot of Gita Jnana Yajnas. People hear about this. Bhagavad Gita Jnana Yajna, yes, it's a very proper usage of the term. It is not, just a kind of word to hype it up. It is not so. It exactly has all the ingredients of a yajna. Now, I will come to the case where the Vedas have said life itself is a yajna. Don't look for yajna outside. It is not external to you. Your own life is yajna. Now, Taittiriya Upanishad, in the end, this is of course called Mahanarayana Upanishad. The last Anuvaka talks about Tasya evam vidushaha yajnasya. Vidwan is one who knows the meanings of what he is uttering. The one who knows Vedas with the meanings has his own life as a yajna. Now, typically what a yajna should have, then where it lists out about 31 items which are the necessary ingredients for a yajna. Suppose somebody has to do a Somayaga or a Ashwamedha Yaga, Vajpayee Yaga, whatever. A physical yajna involving fires and ritvik, etc. also has these things. This is there in the life itself. This is what the Shruti says. Life is no.
Once, when we talk about Ashwamedha Yajna, do any of these yajnas include violence like killing animals?
It involves killing animals, but it is not violence. This is something that we need to understand very, very thoroughly. The Westerners have totally got it wrong, and then they always try to equate. See, it is not possible for a person to live without violence. This is something which is a very unexceptionable statement. Even if you eat rice, killing of life exists. The paddy itself that grows in the field has life, we are cutting it off. It is not possible. Vedas have made a very, very categorical statement. Death is not the parameter to which killing is not the way someone measures what is violent, what is not violent. Things that are inevitable, then the sin coming out of inevitable transgressions is got through, is cleared through Vedas. Vedas have said certain things which cannot be cleared through mantras, then that is stated as like murder. Murder is not condoned in the Vedas. But killing an enemy is condoned in the Vedas, as I said earlier. Only if somebody is a threat to the community, threat to the universe itself. Someone setting fire, someone poisoning, someone trying to say that okay, the fields are all trampled upon, etc., etc. The livelihood of others unconnected, if they are being throttled by somebody, then it is not treated as killing. It is treated as getting rid of a problem that is posed to a large set of people, innocent people. Now, you can't simply put everything under one basket. Killing alone is not the activity. For example, see now, a surgeon has to use in surgery a lot of instruments to cut open, to bring out blood, etc., etc. It is not treated as violence. Why not? If somebody were to ask, so the purpose justifies in cases, the mode justifies in certain cases, inevitability justifies in certain cases. But this is the central theme of yajna. In fact, I will come to another word that is a synonym of yajna used in the Vedas, is adhvara. Adhvara is another word which is synonym to yajna. This word, the Vedas have explained as an answer to a set of critics. Like, for example, Buddhists. Generally, Buddhists talk about ahimsa as the ultimate. But Buddhists cannot live without eating. And so they do commit the ahimsa first, then come to talk about Vedic ahimsa. This is what is the kind of thing the Vedas try to point out. Asuras also once tried to dissuade Devas from doing yajna and achieving results by pointing out, yes, you are killing animals and this is wrong. Then the Vedas said, let us now once and for all define what qualifies as violence and what is not. What is plain cold-blooded murder and what is not. Though separating the life from a body exists in two different cases. For example, the medical situation. A doctor trying to perform a surgery and of course it fails. Suppose an operation fails. Do we hold the doctor as the murderer? Is the kind of situation. Now, act has no distinction. Intention and of course the desired result, etc. How does the acceptability to such a thing come up? This is what is the central question asked in the Vedas. What is acceptable and what is not? Then this word, dvara. Dvara is a root, is a verbal root in Sanskrit. Dvaratihi himsa karma. Dvarati means himsati. And himsa is of multiple types. Abusing a person is also himsa. Not only killing. Not only
Correct.
killing.
Correct.
So, it could be vachika, it could be manasa, it could be kayika. Now, manovakayas can have himsa in their own way. Now, himsa is himsa. It should be condemned, whichever form it is, wherever it is. Yes. Vedas have only taught us, don't do ma himsa, sarva, bhutani. This is the first statement in the Vedas. Never do himsa, never injure, never violate any living being, not only human being. It is any living being, including an insect. We have no right to kill an insect. injure something, etc. Yes, this is the standard statement in the Veda. But this is the default. There is an exception. Yajnas are the exception. This is what the Vedas have said. Now this Dvara means himsa. Yajna is called Advara. Advara meaning where there is no himsa. Now, how do we then define himsa? Agni shomiya himsa na himsa. This is what the Mimamsa has concluded. Mimamsa Sutras very elaborately go through these issues. There are some yajnas where nearly 300 animals are killed. This is part of the yajna. But Ashwamedha has a very large number of them, hundreds of them. Then, this is ordained in the Vedas to be done this way. But then, what justifies? Now, because that is said there, can you kill any other animal not part of Ashwamedha process? No. You can't even touch an insect. This is on the one side. On the other side, the approval is for something, for some situation, for somebody, etc., etc. It's very, very difficult to get the right kind of scenario where they can be performed. But if they are done, then, like I said earlier, as much as Vedas are meant for yajnas, the Pashus are also created for yajnas. This is another statement in the Veda. Yajnartham Pashavas. There are certain Pashus that are created to be used in the yajnas. But
Yes.
these
Sir,
used
can I
of the
interrupt?
mantras, yeah.
Yeah. Sir, if this is to be followed with certainty, then we are not supposed to kill the mosquito also, who can cause
Yes.
falciparum malaria and dengue fever. Knowing
Yeah,
that
no.
there are species of
That is where,
mosquito which can cause fatty illness, we should not kill them. Let them kill us. Is it like that?
yes. Yeah, no, I'll come to that. See, that is where the Vedas have given the very balanced way. See, if you don't kill something, if that kills you, then it is self-defense and not killing. This is what I am saying. See, surgery is one example. Surgery is one example where someone willingly pays money to get cut open, let us say his own body. You go to somebody, wait in a queue, pay money, get your body cut open, and you are not sure whether you are getting cured. But still, the hope or the purpose is that you are going to achieve something that is beneficial to you. This is what I am saying. See, people are very hypocritical when they talk about Hindu systems. Vedas are that way very, very clear and open. And they have said 100 scenarios is put before. 100 scenarios are put before to say, in these situations, this is not killing. This is not prohibited. Outside of this, even touching an insect is a sin. That is where, in fact, Mimamsa says that in that sense, very, very systematic and very clear, very ruthless. It says, fine, kill 300 animals if it is a yajna. Don't touch an insect if it is not part of a yajna. If Vedas have not sanctioned. This is the statement. Of course, many people have tried to give perverted logic or, fallacious logic to counter this. But they cannot answer. Very, very simple living itself. Eating food, whether it is vegetarian even, is not possible without killing so many lives. Like I said, paddy or wheat or jowar, whatever you take, anything that had life was thwarted, then you eat. No one complains simply because it is inevitable or simply because he does this, he does not point out to the others. Vedas say even there it exists. Even for a Buddhist, this question it asks. There are ahimsavadis, so-called ahimsavadis, but they have not defined ahimsa before, so they cannot talk about ahimsa. If they talk about Vedic ahimsa, Veda has sanctioned them, so it is not ahimsa at all. Veda has sanctioned certain kind of them, which is ahimsa in your eyes, it is not okay. Otherwise, you define afresh. Then you should also be free of that. But we have also asked many Jains. See, the Jains have certain process. They don't even want to breathe openly. They want to put a white cloth to see when some insects may come in. Kind of. This is fine, Baba, but then what about the food that you take? Do you take something in or not? This is the fundamental. A vegetable, a cereal, any dhanya, any food that someone does it come from life or not? If it comes from a live thing, there is no escape. Now then, is that the license for killing anybody? It is not. This is where only Vedas have given us, through the process of yajna, is some devata pleased by this killing? Yes, the yajnas say this is for this devata with this mantra, this pashu is meant for this. And very, very important aspect is, all those pashus that are sacrificed in the yajna, they all get sadgati. This is assured by the Shruti. This is not possible for anyone else. To one single paddy, we cannot get salvation, we cannot give mukti. Whereas the Vedas can sanction mukti to so many lives, then it can also order you to do. It does not say everyone should do. Only a Chakravarti can do Ashwamedha. They can only do, let us say, once for the benefit of all. Okay, you want to become Indra, then do 100 Ashwamedha. This is what the Vedas said. But there will be always some or other testing, some kind of pariksha, someone will fail. For example, even Sagara, Rama's own predecessor, he wanted to do the Ashwamedha. Ashwamedha has got a horse which has to go around the country in 1 year's time. And if somebody stops it on the way, or if it is lost, then the Yajamana is lost, the yajna cannot be done. There are many, many cases where this has been stolen, this has been, hidden, this has been taken away, etc. Even Sagara could not complete the yajna. Indra took it away and put it into some remote area, then asked people to go find it out and come back. And it is not found. So it is not so easy, so frequent or so simple. Yes, there is a logic for a universal good which we cannot see. We cannot see the elements, we cannot see the divinities. Only Vedas can teach about this. All those believers of Veda have no issue in defining Himsa as something which is not approved by Vedas. Vedas may have approved an activity where there is a separation of life, yes, but there is a reason behind, and how to get rid of the sin that is coming out of that. There is a lot of prayaschitta even there. In spite of Vedas having said do this, there is a lot of prayaschitta along that. But this is true of even eating. Vedas have no distinction between eating purposes, living purposes, medical purposes, inevitable purposes, or hostile forces. For various kinds of situation, there will be cases, yes. So it is not a simple act of. See, there is one example given in the Mimamsa definitions. One of the shlokas that is mentioned there is, a person embraces another person. A man embracing a woman with 3 relationships: mother, wife and daughter. It says the act of embracing by a male person of a female person is common between mother, wife and daughter, but the intention and results are different. Same activity can produce different results by different intentions. This is very, very clear. In the world, this is done. In the world, this is done. So the example given is Alingana of Mata, Arya and Duhita. Or maybe it can be sister, it can be cousin, anybody. Now in such cases, what is permitted, what is not permitted, if you were to ask, what is the intention, how is this carried out? This is the separator. Even in the case of, say, accidentally somebody does something, somebody dies. Then also Vedas say you get the papa, then of course to get rid of this is the prayaschitta, this is what you will do, etc. This happens. Now, wantonly killing, it does not approve through your own method. There is a prescribed method. But there is also a caution. You want to kill, X wants to kill Y, he has to do a yajna to see that Y is eliminated. But the power for Y is also open to do the yajna to kill X. And whoever succeeds will be the victor in the end. Suppose both do the yajna, but one of the yajnas had some lopa. that will not produce results. The other thing can produce results. So it can even be counterproductive. Whether give you a chance, if you feel so strongly about wanting to eliminate somebody, wait, do a yajna, think over, there are imponderables, you may succeed, may not succeed. Consider all this and go ahead. But remember, the same option exists for the other person also, your enemy also. So as much as you are opening yourself to danger, you are of course wanting to also mean danger to the other person. But this is the most reasonable way somebody can ever control mind when it is filled with anger. So that is how the yajna as a concept in the Vedas considers psychological aspects, physical aspects, social aspects, medical aspects, political aspects, number of such angles, and in the end it is inevitability also as an angle. If someone has to live, he has to be the reason for killing of so many life forms, and one has to take a balanced view and not put some under the carpet, put something under the carpet and only take exception to certain things. It should not be done.
Sir,
So the mantra,
I was reading about Sri Dayananda Saraswati ji, whose view or opinion is anything that is related to sacrifice of human beings or animals is actually a contamination of original yajna, is what he says in the introduction of the Rigveda, the Bhashya that we have just been introduced to and we just started reading. So, is that...
No, I know that, but that view is not right for the simple reason, see this Mimamsa Sutras, Mimamsa as a Shastra with Sutra, Vartika, Bhashya, all of them, and the mantra itself. See, the mantra that actually is used to kill the animal. For example, the goat is killed in the Somyaga. The mantra that is addressed to the goat is, now you are not getting killed, you are going to Swarga, you get to Deva Sharira, and so whether the Yajamana succeeds in his yajna or not, you are not affected. See, because you helped him being the Pashu in the yajna, your job you have done properly, so you get the result for this. Whether the Yajamana by doing this and many other things, he has to do many other things properly, then he might get his result. But that situation does not exist for you. And from a Pashu Sharira, in fact, there is one more basic question that we should understand. The Westerners don't get it right. The Vedas insist on Punarjanma. There is rebirth for every soul. Because of this, anyone today in this form would have been this form elsewhere kind of thing. But the word Mamsa is explained in the Vedas. What does the word Mamsa mean? Mamsa means flesh. Meat or flesh that we... Mamsa is the word. How did this word come in? Veda has got its own Nirukta. See, Nirukta is one of the Vedangas, the etymology.
Correct. Yes.
Here I have killed an animal. That is going to kill me in the other world. Mam saha bhakshayishyati. The mamsa word came from, that is, today it has become a Pashu. You are a human. Maybe in a different life, you were the Pashu and you are the killer. It is saying, because of this rebirth as the only proper solution to explain differences. To explain differences during birth. There is no other theory which can help. Why somebody is born some way. Different even, very simple. There are 100 differences. How to account for those differences? Unless there is some chain, unless there is a chain of lives, it is not possible to explain. And Vedas have insisted there will be different lives. Based on what you do in one life, the other life is decided.
Correct.
So, there is absolutely nothing to feel bad about having to kill if there is an authority. Left to yourself, you will not touch anything. This is what the Vedas have said. You don't think about on your own and think, fine, I am knowledgeable enough. Nobody is allowed to be taking the liberty that he is knowledgeable, he knows what is good for himself. everyone has to abide by. Vedas try to tell you what is good for whom, and accordingly you follow. So that is where even the word Mamsa is to say, he is now going to be my food later. Today I am the food for him, later he will become my food. This is the basic idea. So when Vedas have said so much about this, it is not that they don't know. So and the Saraswati, etc., maybe in a different kind of space-time, people want to give certain kind of explanations or to, ruffled feathers. If you have, you try to calm down. That's a different thing. But Vedas have no nishtura at all. They don't bother about pleasing somebody. Truth as naked as it can be. But truth is truth. That is the ultimate. Because the mantra says, I am killing you, but you are not dying, you are taking away. Deva Sharira. This is what Navahu etan mriyase narishyasi devagum ideshi patibis sugebhi. The mantra. You are going to become part of the Devatas. I will only be a servant even when I go to Swarga. You would have had an exalted place. Simply because you sacrifice your life for my good. In fact, the Charvakas and Bauddhas are the vocal critics of Vedas. One of them has asked this question. If you so much believe Vedas, that Vedas say a goat that is killed in the yajna will go to Swarga, then why don't you kill your aged father in the place of the goat so that you will directly go to Swarga? You are so kind to your goat to get it Swarga and not so much kind to your own aged father. This is what he asked. Yagastu nihato yajne swargameva gamishyati svapita yajamanena yajne kasman nahanyate. This is the question asked by Charvakas. Vedas are very simple. Vedas have not asked to kill your father, it has asked you to kill the goat. That is the end of it. If Vedas had said this, we would have no question, no qualms about doing. This is the answer given in Mimamsa. People have not shied away from questions. It is not that there are uncomfortable questions, people skip it. That is not there. Mimamsa is one place where no one has shied away from any question, any kind of question, any as directly as it can be put. No question. Because Shruti says this, how do you know which is Satvika Ahara, which is Tamasa, which is Rajasa? Purely by Vedas. And that gives you those kinds of instincts, those kinds of activities, those kinds of results. And none of these are Pratyaksha. You cannot rely upon Pratyaksha based objections to something which is not Vishaya for Pratyaksha. Vedas talk about a domain where Pratyaksha is not helpful, inference is not helpful. Pratyakshena anumityava yastu upayaha nabudhyate enam vidatti vedena tasmat vedasya vedata. Veda becomes Veda only because all efforts otherwise when they are futile to know something, Veda is only refused. So there is only one option. You can become a Nastika. You have an option not to believe Vedas and carry on your own way. Good luck to you. That is what the Vedas say. But those with faith will not be lost. This is the other side. This is for you to choose. And we don't boycott you. Vedas say a Nastika is not to be abhorred. Nastika is not to be hated. Says he will take more time to come to the right path. This is all what it says. If someone wants to follow from the example of others, someone would like to have his own experience. Allow him to have his own experience. This is what the Vedas have said. This is one of the greatness of the Vedic Dharma, Sanatana Dharma. It does not brand anybody as lost forever. Nobody is doomed forever. Because there is rebirth, because there are going to be so many experiences, will finally compel somebody to look at the more reasonable and more established time-tested method. He will not come back. So it never said we don't brand anybody. But for the believers, there is a simple way given that in this birth itself you can get rid of all dukkha. This is what the Vedas have done. So yajna in that sense is one's own elevation spiritually. Spiritually elevating any person from wherever he is. It does not matter where he is or what is his current situation. So, including animals from that same birth, it is possible to get released from bondage. So, Vedas have tried to balance, but today people find it very difficult. We have to have one ministry in a state, and we have, let us say, 30 vacancies. You have to cover every district, you have to cover every caste, you have to cover every kind of requirement. It's not possible. Whereas the Vedas are to the last soul. It has tried to do good. So the universal benefit across people is possible through this concept called yajna. And yajna, as I was just trying to tell you, the list, for example, yajnasya, yajamana is the first of the requirement. One who is the agent or who is performing this yajna. It says atma yajamanaha. One's own self is the yajamana. In the place of the person who actually does the sankalpa, who owns the items that are used there, who has earned and uses that in the yajna. For example, one yajna costs 10 lakhs, 20 lakhs to do. Someone has got so much of resources. He puts it together, invites people, gives them dakshina, etc. Such a person's place is taken by every individual soul. He is the yajamana of his own life. Life is the yajna now. Now we have yajna with yajamana. Now atma is the place. Now yajamana should have patni. Without the wife being present physically, yajna cannot be done. Ayajnova eshaha yaha apatnikaha. So a brahmachari is not authorized to do yajnas. Sannyasi is not authorized to do yajnas. The vanaprastha is not expected to do yajnas because he gives up fire. Only grahastha of the 4 ashramas is eligible, that too when the wife is alive. Exactly like the vidhava concept that we have in the case of women, if the husband is not alive, she is not allowed to do certain things. Similarly, no yajna can be performed if the wife is not alive for a grahastha. This is a very important concept. People do not understand that it is equality and all. There is nothing more equal gender-wise than the Vedas. There is an equal amount of discomfiture, ineligibility, both for the man and the woman. If both are not there together alive, both will miss something. He can't do something on himself. He also cannot do something by himself. Ayajnova yashaha yaha apatnikaha. If a yajna does not have a patni, it is not a yajna. It is a very simple statement. So, the first requirement is the yajamana. Second requirement is patni. Now, in the case of life, Shraddha is patni. The Vedas have now said, Atma yajamanaha, Shraddha patni. Now, Shraddha patni means the faith or the belief is without that it is not a yajna at all. So, without patni, a yajna cannot be there. And Atma without Shraddha will not be able to lead his life as a yajna. So, life as a yajna.
When we discuss about the yajna, when we discuss about the Vedas, there is an argument that we can pick up from Vedas and say this is what Vedas said. Fundamentally, Vedas are true. So that is why this statement holds good. Is there any explanation that we can pick up from outside of Vedas to substantiate what is given in Vedas? For example, you take this example of somebody not having his wife alive cannot do yajna.
Yes.
So there may be some risk that might have been given.
Sorry?
There may be some reasons that might have been given. So are those reasons applicable for all the time, like including the animal sacrifice you just mentioned? other than the mantra saying that this animal is going to, once it lives the life as a part of yajna, it will get into heaven or swarga.
Yes.
That is the thing that we are getting from Veda only.
Yes.
And because we are believing Veda, we are also believing it and saying this is what yajna says, that is why I believe it. So what I'm trying to ask is there any explanation beyond that which can support or which can make the animal sacrifice as the right thing?
No, see, animal sacrifice is right because it is sanctioned by Veda alone. Is the single argument.
Okay.
Because beyond this, you cannot get any other source of authority. For the simple reason, Atma is not known by any other source. It just assume that the person believes body is different from Atma. This is not known by any other means, any other source of knowledge. Cannot establish there is an Atma at all. No other source can establish there is a Paraloka. There is a Loka called Swarga, there is a place called Devaloka, etc., where there are divinities. Devata is not known by Pratyaksha, Anumana or any other Pramana. Atma is not known by any other Pramana. Similarly, its existence beyond the body after it falls is also not substantiated by any other Pramana. That is, the rebirth. Rebirth has got a procedure. Soul leaves this body, goes in between, maybe undergoes pleasures or pains, then takes another body. That is, there is Uttranti, Gati, Agati. Brahma Sutras have, the Vedanta has dealt with these three levels. A soul is in a given body, it leaves this body, that is the Marana. Then it traverses. Maybe it goes to Sarga, it goes to Naraka, etc. Enjoys certain benefits that are accrued to that till that life. Then it goes for taking another body. Utkranti is there, Gati is there, then Agati. Gets into another body, takes Janma. Between Marana and next Janma, in between there is a Bhoga or Yatana. It can go to Swarga. Now, none of these can be established by any other Pramana. So the Mimamsa says Veda are nothing else. And another point, Vedas does not require the support of anything else. Very, very simple statement. Nirapekshaha Ravaha Shruti. Shruti is defined in Mimamsa Sutra as something that requires nothing else to support this. It does not need corroboration from anything else. Nirapekshaha Ravaha Shruti. Very, very simple. No,
I think in a very simple, in a simple way, we are trying to answer and break apart the circular reasoning that might come into being. With this one statement, you either you believe or you don't believe, period. Don't try to break your head because you don't have to keep going in circles.
No, it is not going to help you anyway. It is not. See, Panini used this in Ashtadhyaya. Panini used the sutra Asti, Nasti, Dishtam, Matihi. To get these two words, Astika and Nastika, this is the sutra. In the fourth chapter, Panini said, Asti iti Matihi kasyajit, Nasti iti Matihi kasyajit. Then Dishtam iti Matihi kasyajit. That is fate. I believe in fate. I don't call it as God. Somebody says, he says there are three categories of people. One who says nothing beyond me exists is Nastika. Something that exists is control entire world is Astika. There is some fate. It may be sentient, it may be non-sentient, it may be a force, it may be somebody, whatever. You simply call it as fate. So Dishtam is the word. Asti, Nasti, Dishtam, Matihi. For all these three people, use the single suffix ka. Astika, Nastika, Daishtika. These are the three words. You choose what you want to. I will give you the word for this. Anani, so easily simplified thing. Let us all put them in one basket and say, come on, go ahead. You decide among yourself, you fight out. But the point is very, very clear. In In the Upanishad also, asanneva sabhavati asat brahmeti veda chet asti brahmeti chet veda santamenam tato viduhu. One who says there is Brahma, one who realizes Brahma is called san. The word santam, actually sant comes from the same word. The loka that we use, sadhu, santa, etc. The sant comes from the word. One who accepts the existence of Brahma is called san. Otherwise, he is called asat. A person who does not believe in the existence of Brahma is called asat. He becomes asat, but Brahma does not become asat. He says one who does not believe becomes asat. Brahma remains happily where it is. If you believe its existence, you become something. This is what it said.
Correct.
So, basically, that is the purpose to say life has got a good analytical way of looking at it with the help of Vedas. No other thing can clarify this. Once you take that great help, fully believe it, never have any perturbance in the mind. Nothing is wrong, nothing is impossible. Simply because our mind cannot fathom everything. It cannot understand everything. We have our limitations. What is beyond us, simply go by better brains who have accepted this, who have subjected themselves to this, who have surrendered to that. The Arjuna in the end, after the whole of Gita, he simply has said, Amekam Sharanam Raja. When Krishna said, Titosmi Gatasandeha, that is now I am very clear. At least for me, I am fortunate, I have Krishna by my side. Any doubt, I can ask him and he will clarify it. If the others are less fortunate, I don't have that problem, he felt. The Vaidika Siddhanta is always, no doubt it is faith-based. Faith-based is not weakness. This is what the Vedas have said. Not to believe is weakness. This is what the Vedas have said. You will be lost. You will also make others get lost. This is what it says. So, Yajna is based on the Vedic concept of maximum good to the universal, eternal system. This is what is it. So, if Yajna is understood, then every activity is a Yajna. Then it is directed, there is a purpose, there is a happiness, there is a kind of fulfillment when someone does this. Without this background, it is not possible to make something worthwhile. So, life to be worthwhile should be a Yajna. Maybe I have the chart also. I have a word. The 31 items of the Yajna, I have put the words in the Veda. Next time I will just complete this. Yajamana Patni is the Shraddha. The Shraddha in the person is equivalent to without Patni, no Yajna, without Shraddha, no Atma. So this is why these two are so much tied together. But with this, the entire life is so purposeful. This is what the Vedas explain. So next class, we will complete this part. This Yajna concept, once it is understood, the etymology, grammar, logic, everything falls into place. Metaphysics, it's no problem. So the entire ontology is having this as a nucleus. So let us go look at the fulcrum first.